huge update today. Oh my goodness. Sex scandals are making Democrats quit. You've got Iran updates. Pakistan wants to negotiate another ceasefire deal. There's a lot going on in this video. Hope you stick around for the full thing. All I ask in return for you guys to hit the like, subscribe, and let's get into this.
We have breaking news. Congressman Eric Swallwell has just announced that he is resigning from Congress. Let's go right to CNN's Mana Rajo in Capitol Hill. Mana, what are you learning?
Yeah, this is happening very rapidly. Just moments ago, Eric Swallwell posting on X that he plans to resign his seat that he is occupied representing the Northern California district, and saying so in the aftermath of these very serious allegations of sexual misconduct, including an allegation of rape. He has denied these allegations, but indicating in this statement that all of this was too much of a distraction, he said, to his constituents, which is why he plans to give up his seat in Congress. Now, this statement I'll read to you, Anderson, says, "I am deeply sorry to my family, staff, and constituents for mistakes and judgment I've made in my past. I will fight this serious false allegation made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make. I am aware of efforts to bring an immediate expulsion vote against me and other members. Expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong," he said, "but it's also wrong for my constituents to have me distracted from my duties. Therefore, I plan to resign my seat in Congress." He goes on to say he'll work to ensure a smooth transition. But this is a dramatic downfall, Anderson. Swalwell was a frontrunner, a Democratic frontrunner for his party's nomination to be the next governor of California, battling out with several other Democrats in that race. But in the aftermath of all these allegations, he saw his support completely collapse. One backer after another withdrawing their support, calling on him to withdraw from his race for California governor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any coming back from that. That's it. That's all. Democrats are not as nice and not as peachy as they try to make themselves be, right? It's funny how that works. Turns out they're scum. Bottom of the barrel, bottom of the shoe.
Breaking news, because the 5 gets results, maybe. Eric Swalwell is resigning from Congress. He said this in a statement: "I am deeply sorry to my family, staff, and constituents for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegation made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make. I am aware of efforts to bring an immediate expulsion vote against me and other members. Expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong, but it's also wrong for my constituents to have me distracted from my duties. Therefore..."
Bro, it's not an allegation. We all saw the video. Give me a break.
"I plan to resign my seat in Congress. I'll work with my staff in the coming days to ensure they are able, in my absence, to serve the needs of the good people of the 14th Congressional District." So Max Gordon, he's out in California. He's got the latest for us. I had you on Newsroom this morning. This is quite a turn of events.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this isn't necessarily unexpected, but it is definitely a shock to the political world. You know, he was a leading candidate for California governor just a couple of days ago, but then this bombshell report came out in the San Francisco Chronicle with allegations that he sexually assaulted a woman while he was, or she was, one of his staffers. Then CNN came out with a separate report interviewing 3 additional women, saying that there was some sexual impropriety that had gone on.
But let's move away from that stuff and let's get into the big boy news, shall we? Such as the fact that Saudi Arabia is urging the United States to end its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and to negotiate with Iran. Yeah, that's right. But China is now getting involved in the matter.
Now, the Iranian oil blockade is probably the knockout punch. The Iranians are trying to outlast us. The longer the war goes on, the longer their regime can hold off a revolution. But their economy is experiencing a crippling depression. This blockade's costing the regime almost $400 million a day. That's $13 billion a month. Plus, the Iranians can only store oil for about 2 weeks before they have to start shutting off wells. The Iranians can't outlast us. The world's turning to us for energy. Over 120 empty oil tankers are on their way to the Gulf of America.
Many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best. Really, I guess you could say, somebody said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country right now. There are many boats coming to our country.
Iranian steel and petrochemical industries have been wiped out. Without oil revenue, all they can sell are pistachios to Pakistanis. It could get worse. The president's still weighing limited airstrikes, saying a number of additional targets are very easy to hit. The Iranians are losing their cards here. And Vance, who just spent 20 hours negotiating with them, says that we're in the driver's seat.
And it's funny that he mentioned something about Pakistan, selling pistachios to Pakistan, because Pakistan just threw their hat in the ring yet again. They just took, for an official statement, and we got it right here on the record, Pakistan proposes hosting a second round of talks between the U.S. and Iran before the ceasefire ends. So either it's Pakistan directly or it's done through a proxy, and Pakistan is kind of the mediator, where it seems like everybody in that area, by the way, Pakistan has nukes, yikes, everybody in that area wants this to actually go through, wants a deal to be made. But how many times are we going to go through the process of trying to get a deal for world peace and for it to crumble because Iran doesn't want to give up their nuclear capabilities? It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on.
The president's warning, if any Iranian ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they'll be immediately eliminated. U.S. Marines are ready to board Iranian oil tankers, and CENTCOM's ready to neutralize any Iranian fast attack boats that slip into the strait to cause mischief. One of Iran's surveillance drones flew too close to one of our destroyers, and we blew it out of the sky. And 2 tankers flying under false flags on their way to China were already intercepted and turned away. This is completely reversing everything Iran did to the strait. Now every nation's ship in the world can sail out except Iran's. 15 American warships are involved in the operation. The mission to free the strait got underway this weekend when 2 guided missile destroyers sailed straight up the gut. The USS Frank E. Peterson and the USS Michael Murphy were the first 2 warships to bust into the strait since the start of the war. The regime threatened to attack if American ships entered. We did it anyway, and they did nothing. And we're about to start clearing the strait of mines, so oil tankers have a clear path out. The Iranians dropped some mines into the strait, but they forgot where they put them.
How convenient, eh? They dropped a bunch of mines and like, oops, Habibi, we don't know where we put the mines. Yeah, well, about that, President Trump already has gone in and started to clear a lot of those mines. And so even if Iran doesn't want to work with the United States and get a deal done, then, I mean, President Trump's just he's going to control the entire strait. There's not going to be a toll, but oil and energy will pretty much predominantly be controlled by the entire world supply by the United States, which is pretty advantageous.
But we have some tools at our disposal, like our Kingfish drones. They're shaped like a torpedo and use sonar to map the seabed and locate hidden explosives. Our knife fish mine hunters scan the seafloor too. We also have basically remote-controlled jet skis, mine hunters that search the water's surface. Our littoral combat ships deploy a wide variety of anti-mine packages, even Seahawk helicopters that can spot and destroy mines from the air. Soon we might have backup.
Is it your anticipation, Mr. President, that other countries will assist in this effort to blockade Iran and those?
Yeah, other countries are going to also.
Which countries, sir?
We don't need other countries, frankly, but they've offered the services. We'll let it be known probably tomorrow.
The Royal Navy has minesweeping ships, but the Brits are being persnickety. They're hosting another meeting with the French and others about if and when they'll lend us a hand. Too little, too late? We'll see. Either way, the president's objectives are clear.
We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen.
The Iranians told us they'd open up the strait in exchange for a ceasefire, but they lied and set up a toll booth to get kickbacks in Chinese currency and Bitcoin.
Well, that toll has been shut down, from my understanding, by President Trump and the Marines and the Navy out there. And so, again, tomorrow's another day. We're going to have to see how this plays out. But the bombing, at least, hasn't really continued. I don't know if I'm, should knock on wood a little bit, but I think that maybe a deal is on the horizon, or some form of special operation to wipe out, the remaining bad guys within Iran, the IRGC, to be able to control that area and have peace in the Middle East. But one thing's for certain: never bet against the United States, and stop betting against President Trump. That's the video. Hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you all later. Bye for now.